what our mission as the current people living in Uganda is. What is our mission? Because all this is happening in the middle of a long history of suffering by the people of Uganda. Ndowooza nja kutabulamu njogera olufuutifuuti ntabulemu n'Oluganda abamu batategeera biri wakiri tukwatagana. These were ordinary people who led the struggle to free Uganda from the British. And after 62 years of struggle, in 1962, the British gave up and handed over Uganda back to us. Mubakubire engaleza amanya barwa. But since 1962, no leader of Uganda has come from the decision of Ugandans to be lifted to the leadership of our country. Every leader since 1962 has bombed their way into office. Every leader has been bombed out of office. Buli akulembedeko Uganda yaletebwa mundu. Buli agenze yatwalibwa ki? Ekitegeeza abantu temuyina ki? Temuyina buyinza ku bukulembeze. Mundu yokka yekola ki? Yeeyina. Mwagala byuma. So, basebo ne banyabo kuva omuzungu bwe yagenda emundu ze yali atufugisa zo zasigala nga zikola ki? Nga zikyatufuga n'okutuusa leero. Nawulidde wano Mwami Museveni ng'agamba nti tebayita ettendekero erimu erinnya lya Idi Amin, nti kubanga Idi Amin yatwala bukulembeze mu bukyamu. Ekikulaga nti Mwami Museveni takyamanyi kyakola ki? Takyamanyi kyali. Takyamanyi kyali. Tamanyi nti naye obuyinza yabutwala mu ki? Ku maanyi. So basebo ne banyabo kuva 62 bannayuganda balwana z'omulimu gwaba Augustine Kamya okulaba nti obuyinza ddala buddawa? Budda mu bantu. Kuva 62 basebo ne banyabo bajjajjaffe nabagambye nti kyabatwalira emyaka 60 kuva 62 guno mwaka gwa kumeka? Leero tuli mu mwaka gwa kumeka? 60 guno omwaka kuva lwe tufuna obwetwaze guno gwe tulimu ogutandise mu October nga 9 guno omwaka gwa 60 kati bajjajjaffe abatayina masimu kwogeraganya kutegeera ekigenda mu maaso, abatayina mamotoka, abatayina kintu kyonna, oba bawangula omuzungu mu myaka 62 kati ffe na buli kimu guno mwaka gwa 60 mwagala nagwo guyitewo? N'omwaka guno nagwo guyitewo? Ne bajjajjaffe kye bakola kituleme kye tukyaliko? So basebo ne banyabo, nze message eyandeese wano njagala kubasoomooza nti omwaka guno ogw'62 guyina kuba gwakyawula ntamu. Teekewo ki? nsalasale tekewo ki nsalasale kaga mwemeka kisoboka kikola ki kisobokera ddala. It's possible. It's possible. So nga sinatuula ekyo nga nkibawadde, njagala njogere katono ku ngeri ki gye kisoboka kinaasoboka. Nsuubira nti bwe tubuguno bwe guba guli mwaka gwa 62 ate nga gwe gusembayo bwe tuba baaku kuba jjajjaffe kitegeeza nti abalinze akalulu aka 2026 abo nze sikola ki sibali. Nasebo nebanyebo tujja kweteekamu enneeteekateeka bwetuba bwe kiba kyakusoboka okusooka tulina okuwangula ebitutadde mu mbeera eno okutuusa leero, ebikozesebwa okutuleka mu mbeera y'obusibe n'okutuusa leero tulina okukola ki kubiwangula. We must defeat the tools that have kept us captive up to date. And I have been telling my colleagues that there are 4 tools that have kept us captive. Waliwo ebintu ebina ebikulu ennyo ebikozesebwa okutuleka mu buwambe bwe tulimu olwaleero. Ekisooka z'emmundu ziri okutiisatiisa ki? Okutiisatiisa obwongo bwaffe. Nti buli omu awangalira mu ki? Mu kutya. Kubanga bajja kutta, kubanga bajja kutulugunya, kubanga bajja kusiba, kubanga bajja kujjako n'akatono k'okola ki? Koyina. Buli omu awangalira mu kutya. Era ly'ekkubo lyabwe erisooka eritukuumira mu mbeera ki? Eno yennyini. Ssebo ne bannyabo, njagala kusaba buli munnayuganda ayagala okubanga Uganda agiyita nsi ye, tuwangule okutya. Njagala bwe njogera ekyo, njagala mutegeere nti teri atatya, era atatya omutyanga. Buli omu akola ki? Buli omu atya. Nange wano singa kibwatuka nsobola okudduka. Buli omu akola ki? Naye tulina okweteekamu embeera okukola kye tulina okukola newankubadde tukola ki? Tutya. nga tulina okukola ekirina okukola ki tulina okukikola era ekikuleetera okukola ky'olina okukola newankubadde otya kukkiriza bw'oba olina okukkiririza mu ky'oyagala okukola oba otya batotya nja kukola ki ojja kukikola so tusaanye kusitula okukkiriza kwaffe kubeerewa waggulu. We must raise our faith. Faith defeats fear. We must raise our faith that yes, and of course God is on the side of justice. God is on the side of right, that by the grace of God and our action we shall regain our country. We must raise our faith. We must raise our faith. Secondly, kyetulina okuwangula ekyokubiri, eyawamba ensi yaffe yawamba bugagga bwayo era abukozesa nga bwakola ki nga bwayagala era bwawulira nti wano omukozi ebyetendo ajja kutandika kubuuza ani ebyo abikulembera alaba oba asobola kumuwa ki na sente byabadde akola akole ki abiveeko. Bwe tuba bakufuna kye twagala tulina okuwangula sente z'omulabe nti ne bwazireeta
in Blascone Paint and win the Twake edition. Buy Blascone Paint worth 100,000 shillings. Get a scratch card and SMS the code to 7197. Not only will you win instant airtime, but you could take home 1 million shillings daily, a share of 4 million shillings each week, or a brand new motorbike with fuel worth 100,000 shillings. Tune in every Sunday at 6:55 p.m. on NBS, Bukede or Sanyuka TV to catch all the colorful action. Terms and conditions apply. Blascone, color your world.
abamu bamwogerako ku lutalo lwe twayitamu olw'ekinaana. Olutalo olw'ekinaana olwaleeta Museveni n'okweyagala kwe yeeyagala yasooka n'akola ki? N'abonaabona, yayita awazibu. So naffe tulina okwesiba emmeka? Ne bwe ziba essatu, ne bwe ziba ennya, twesibe tumanye nti kati wasigadde emyezi emeka mujja kusigala nga mugiba okwenkaaga mu ebiri nga tekunakola ki nga tekunatuyitako. Mwesibe ebbiri tulabe oba afulumya sente zenkana ki oba zenkana ki, tusigala nga tukola kye tulina okukola ki kola. Ekyokusatu kye tulina okuwangula pokopoko y'omulabe. Omulabe Mwami Museveni ensonga lwaki tayagala President Kyagulanyi atambula ayogere ne bannayuganda lwakuba bw'ayogera nabo ajja kubazukusa kubazibukula amaaso abantu bategeere ekyokukola ki tajja kukkiriza. Basigala ku mulediyo era wano tusobola okwogerera ku mulediyo bw'omutabuni wano, naye bw'ogenda mu byalo tebakukkiriza oyogerere ku kalediyo akaawa ate bwonna bwabwe eri ajja kwogererako. So abantu baffe abali mu byalo bawulira Mwami Museveni kyokka yekka kyakola ki yekka kyayogera ng'ayitira mu baRDC Diso, Jiso, Bani, ababeera ku bulediyo bwe nga boogera propaganda bwe. Bassebo ne bannyabo era ayitira mu propaganda eyo naffe ffennyini n'atusigamu ensigo ey'okutuleetamu okutya buli omu kutya munne. Simanyi mukitegeere. Propaganda aleeta buli omu kutya ki munne. Agamba oyombega buli omu abenga atya munne katalina kyasobola kukola. Bassebo ne banyabo njagala tutegeeragane, nze mbega mmanyi omu atakola kyalina kukola ki kyalina kukola. Bwe tugamba tugende ne nkulaba nga osala panya ate nga tugenda anakiboli ki we should not be guided by words, we should be guided by actions. Let's be guided by actions. Era alwana tomubuusabuusa manya nti oyo yali ku ludda ki oludda lw'oliko. Oli ne bw'aba ayogera bulungi atya naye nga bwe twagala okubaako ebikolebwa talabika, oyo manya ki basabo ne banyabo. Ensonga y'okuna gye tulina okuwangula ate nga yesembayo gye njagala okukoonako y'ensonga ey'oyo eyatuwamba okutwawulayawula oba oliawo n'okutukoonaganya. Okwawulayawula n'okukola ki n'okutukoonaganya. Kubanga abawambye eggwanga lino bantu batono nnyo, bantu batuwe bati. Kati ffe abangi okusigala nga bakyatuwambye ebbanga lino lyonna balina okutukutulamu bitundu bingi nnyo, ate oba oliawo tube nga twekuba ffekka. Mu kifo ky'okutunuulira eyatuteeka mu mbeera eno ng'otunuulira munno omuwambe ti ye mulabewo. Simanyi tuli ffenna bwe tubanga tuli akuwangula omulabe n'olweto tulina okwegatta tusigale nga tuli kitole, tulwanire wamu bbega ku bbega okutuusa we tutuuka gye tukola ki. Era nga tuwangula ebyo.
Here's the thing about us. We're all more than just one thing. Like Grace here. All her students call her the best teacher ever. As for Grace's teacher, all she can say is, she tries hard. On weekends, she's called Grace the Ace. And when you're in front, of course you have a following. While at home, she has a following that's sometimes harder to impress. Well, Minister of Home Finance, we're impressed. That's why we offer every kind of banking solution for every kind of you.
Omusolo gw'osasula kyegukola ani akisalawo byabufuzi. So bw'ogamba nti siri munabyabufuzi oyo mumanya ono omusiga awedde. So buli omu, let everyone, whether you are civil society, the struggle we are on is not a partisan struggle. Olutalo lwe tuliko lwa kufuna eggwanga si lwa kulwanirira bibiina leero. Simanyi tukitegeera. Leero lwa kufuna ki eggwanga abagambye kuva 1900 na leero ng'eggwanga teriri mu mikono gyaffe. So olutalo olusooka missioni yaffe yakudde mu kufuna ki gwanga mu ngalo. Bwe tufuna ggwanga ebirala byonna bijja kutereera. Tusooke tufune eggwanga. So bassebo ne bannyabo oba oli munaddiini era njagala obubaka buno bugende eri bannaddiini bonna. Bannaddiini bonna kibakakatako okubanga bali ku mwanjo mu lutalo luno. Kibakakatako butereevu kubanga abasumba ba Katonda bonna baba ddoboozi lyaki? Ddoboozi ly'abantu abatalina ddoboozi. Be balina okusitula eddoboozi ery'abatalina ki? Ery'abatalina ddoboozi. So abasumba babishopu bapasita baani balina okubeera ku front line y'okulaba nti Uganda eddamu nefuna emirembe, bannansi ne baba bannannyini ggwanga lino. So fenna tulina obuvunaanyizibwa. Obuvunaanyizibwa obwo ekikulu ennyo buli omu kyatandikirako, laba nti munna atanategeera mission tyomubuulira n'akola ki? N'agitegeera. Laba nti buli omu amanya mission yakununula ki? Ggwanga. Ategeere ti emission gye tulina kununula ggwanga lyaffe. Era omunyonyole nti kisoboka. Era ekyo bwe tukiyitako nabagambye nti eggwanga lino tetujja kulinunula nti kubanga batufuze nnyo kati batusonyiwe ne batuleka. Tulina okulwana. Tulina okukola ki? Tulina okulwanira eggwanga lyaffe. Era abalwana bonna bazimba ebibinja. Abalwana bazimba ki? Owangaala wekka nti nze ndi wano njagala nkyukakyuka. Beera kw'ekibinja mwokola ki? Mwogwa nga kibinja ekyo kirina mission yakununula ki? Ggwanga. Tuzimbe ebibinja. Era enzimba y'ebibinja abakulembeze bano bonna bwe buvunaanyizibwa era babadde bandaga nga bwe beetegeka okulaba nti ebibinja byonna bikola ki? Bizimbirwa. Era ngenze ndi mumativu ti chairman Nyanzi ne ttiimu ye n'abalala bonna mulimu bagwina mu ngalo ogw'okulaba nti ebibinja bikola ki? Byetukola okulwanira ensi yaffe bwembanga mu lutalo luli we twalwana olw'ensiko saafunamu kintu kyonna, naye ekyenkoola kikyaliwo ekitanaba kuvaamu kekawaayiro namba 3 mu ssemateeka, article namba 3 mu ssemateeka ya Uganda etuwa obuyinza butereevu okwaŋŋaŋŋa oyo yenna alinnyirira ssemateeka n'amateeka gaffe, kumwaŋŋaŋŋa mu ngeri yonna gye tulaba. We have power from the Constitution to fight by all means okulaba nti abalinnyiridde ssemateeka, abatulugunya abantu baffe, ababuzizzaawo abantu baffe, abatta abantu buli lunaku mu bumenyi bwa ssemateeka, nti abantu abo tubajjawo mu ngeri zonna. Tukkirizibwa. So njagala okubategeeza nti abo bonna abafudde ate bangi bw'obala kuva emabega bangi nnyo bayitirivu abafudde. Lisiti ezo z'olaba buli kibiina kiri mu lisiti ey'abakoze eki ey'abafu ababuze abakoze eki. Njagala kubategeeza ng'amaliriza nti n'abafudde n'okutuusa kati newankubadde omulimu gwe twewa tegunakutuukirira naye tegubadde gwa bwereere. N'okutuuka kati waliwo we tukola ki? Waliwo we tutuuse. Temulowooza ti mwami Museveni ono gw'olaba ayogera byatakyamanya nti ye Museveni oli eyasooka. Entalo zayiseemu ze tumuyisizaamu nga tunyeenya era kati wali
oli ku mapu mediatic.
Abantu baffe tebafiiridde bwereere. Gavumenti kyetulwana nayo njagala kubakakasa nti eyuuga ngeri gyeteyuuganga eyuuga. Era omulimu gwaffe ogusigadde si gwe munene nnyo. Mulimu ogusigadde mwenna mulina baganda bammwe abali mu bitongole bikuumaddembe oba ebyandibadde bikuumaddembe. Bonna abali mu magye abali mu poliisi abaliwa nabo bennyini bali mu ngeri embitirivu ennyo era nabo balinze ffe tubeeko kyetukola ki kyetukola nabo ojja kulaba waliwo ekintu nga bakiyingiramu nga kikola ki nga kiggwa. Abaali ab'ebweru nga bawanirira mwami Museveni era abaamutuleetera okutulumya negyatutuuse gyetutuuse. Ab'ebweru abamutaddemu ssente abamutaddemu emmundu abamutaddemu ki nabo we tutuukidde wano balaba nti kino tekikyasobola kulwagirwa. Nabo kati bakola ki? Nabo kati bakisembera wala bakisembera wala. Era ndowooza mwawulira World Bank gye babadde beewola naye yataddewo ki? Muwulira n'ebirala bijja kuddako. Ekikulaga nti n'ab'ebweru bamaze okulaba nti kino tekikyalina kye kikola ki? Tekidda. Ate oba batandise n'okuleeta oli mutabanyiiwe. Era abalenga mu ndowooza batuufu kubanga nawulidde abalenga nga bagamba ate wakiri muzeero kikoze eki ekiseera kiweddeyo. N'olwekyo mbasaba era okukolera awamu sizze ku Unity Platform ofiisi yokka njagala tutambulire wamu ffenna bega ku bega. Nibakubuuza tayagala okwegatta ye mulabe. Tujja kutambulira wamu ffenna mu buzibu mu mirembe, tujja kutambulira wamu ffenna tununule eggwanga lyaffe insha Allah. So mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala Omukama bampeera obuwanguzi musigale nga mukolera ddala emirimu egy'amaanyi. Mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala.
In the deserved this standing ovation. You deserved it. Who would have done it better than what the Honorable retired Colonel H.E Bobi? We want to thank you as the National Unity Platform. People power, our power, NUP, everywhere. You've done us great. What is our mission? What do we intend to do as citizens of this country? Thanks for those great and strong words from a man of wisdom. We are so grateful. Clap for him. Join me to clap for the Honorable Dr. H.E Bobi. Our president indeed said it. We are the leaders of the future, and the future is today. Who else can say it better than our president? Your Excellency, kindly allow me to invite the Honorable Matthias Mpuga-Nsamba, the Deputy President for the Central Region, to make a few remarks and invite you, Your Excellency. Thank you.
People power, people power, our power. Mukongeremu bali abalika akatuli ku mutwe bekwate mu byenda. People power, people power, our power. Mbategedde nnyo. Mr. President, sir, the First Lady, Comrade Dr. Colonel H.E Bobi, my brother, the Lord Mayor, and the Party President of the FDC, Comrade Deputy President, colleagues, members of Parliament, the party leadership of NUP, led by our very able Secretary General, Comrade Lubongoya, President, allow me in a special way recognize two special humans in our midst.
Recognize two special humans in our midst.
And the
for your attention and the attention of this honorable gathering. One of them is a former member of Parliament. He's just joined NUP. He's a very special person. Comrade Paul will rise for the attention of this house. The second person is Comrade Andrew Kaluya, former member of Parliament. He was in the NRM. He will never go back to NRM. He said so. He's with NUP. Mr. President, the spirit of NUP is a very wild spirit. When it catches you, you cannot recover. Those two honorable gentlemen are people power spirited, Mr. President. Mr. President, when you first invited us here sometime last year to make it known to all and sundry that the NUP will be housed here, I made the remarks in the boundaries of we are no longer a whirlwind. And I said, if NUP is a whirlwind, I want to be part of that whirlwind. Mr. President, whoever thought that NUP is a whirlwind was hallucinating. Or it's no more. But I know, Mr. President, that there were One's life from envy. Omani bannaffe bali ye rent zibasasula bamagoba nemuli abe nabedasasula na rent era manyi mwabadde mujja. You see, yesterday the president was very angry about the action of the regime stopping us from accessing our premises. But I calmed him down. I told him, look, Mr. President, the Monday newspaper on Tuesday published an article on its front page, namely that 30% of Ugandans hover between insanity and madness. And I confirmed that sample was taken from the SFC and the police, or the 30%. And part of it, from section of the Hero Brigade, ebitundu asatu ebyabalumi bayogeddeko mu monitor bireka okuba nga byavuddemu abo abajega abo. Tosobola kubanga obwongo obuli wamu n'olemesa ekibiina ekiwandiise mu mateeka okugola ekisolo kyakyo. In the wisdom of General Museveni, miles away from here we cannot be around. We are one big country and all of us can fit in this one country. We want today and onwards to send a strong message to General Museveni and his cohorts that we shall be in Uganda, we shall do what we shall do as Ugandans, we don't need his permission and approval, we shall do it regardless. Mr. President, you gave me opportunity to lead the team in Parliament. The team is out of Parliament, and the Parliament is closed for that level. We raise the threshold of demands to General Museveni and his murderers. Abaana abo tebafira bwemage. We are going to demand until there is full accountability and justice. Mr. President, waliwo musajjawo kansala yamawulire wano wakati ojjamu
oyo oli ku Map Media TV. Kansala yafuumudde eyasisimudde bali kibooko. Bamukwansa ekizike.
Jjiramu President akulabe. Tuliwa wali nguyenkwadde olukusaku. Kansala oyo Mr. President yakkizaako banne olw'embuya nebuddayo musajja wa Kabaka mu busungu obungi. Yayisizaako banne kibooko ng'abalanga okukola eby'olujega.
Oli ku Map Media TV kibooko.
Comrade Kabako abazize gakuweddeko n'abyogabaawo. It means whipping my members of Parliament.
Oli ku Map Media TV.
That humble gentleman carried him, and then we were in spirit that we must carry from today onwards in our work. Mr. President, this place is not just the headquarters of NUP, but is the spiritual headquarters of the people power movement from today onwards. Kikisala butebe kya kibiina naye kyentabiro y'omutima gwa people power obutakola ki obutafa okuva olwaleero. We shall therefore be gathering here to really recall, arouse the spirit that we never saved thy spirit, a spirit of unity, of sacrifice, of nationalism, until our nation is recovered. Mr. President, I want to thank you for your leadership, for the sacrifice, to really that has brought us this far, because it's been a struggle of sacrifice. But this spirit that really is enduring that has brought us this far, I want to pledge it to you on behalf of colleagues in the Parliament that this spirit will not die. But we will continue to mobilize, to sacrifice until common sense returns home. This is our country. We have only one country called home. Basaba Nyabo, Binebizimbe birungi nnyo, nembe bisenge ebisinga obugumu okusulamu ebyaseminti. Once your spirit is strong, it's stronger than any wall around us. Ebisenge mwebitambula, these are stationary walls. We are moving walls. Musigale nga muli bisenge ebitaakiriza tekimukkirizamu, ebirwanirira bannammwe, ebitagoka, ebitakiriza kutiisibwatiisibwa. Mukolere wamu, muwuliziganye, muyambagane, muwamulingane. Ojja okuzimba omutima ogwo ogwa people power ogutafa. Mr. President, Mr. President, it's not my day. I would like to take the honor to invite you to come and address the nation. Welcome, Mr. President.
Tutera okutula live zino President netumuwa special ne kati eno katugireke kubanga bwe tukomerawo ate biba bitenze kati tukole egende mulamba oli ku Map Media TV ne Map Kabwejombera n'ababaka babakube kibooko.
Thank you. People power. For me, the quote of the day. And my brother Norbert, I want you to print this on a t-shirt for me. The quote of the day for me. Robert, njagala nkolere t-shirt eyo nange nyume. If you don't care about the politics of your country, you is a fool. Dash Dr. Kizza Besigye. Thank you very much. Bw'oba tofaayo ku bukulembeze bwa ggwanga lyo nga tebikwatako, nga tofaayo ngeri gy'okulemberwamu, nga tofaayo oba waliwo amadwaliro oba tewali, nga tofaayo misolo gy'osasula tegikola, then oli mugwagwa. Thank you very much, Dr.
Oli ku Map Media TV.
Kimanye nti ikira gy'olyobeera obasaddaase, ono omusajja tumuta naye nga twakunganye. Ebigambo bye tubadde nga tuyimba ebbanga lyonna Dr. Kizza Besigye abisqueezeze mu slang emu, mu quote emu. Quote eyo njagadde njogere na mu luzungu lwa street. If you don't care about the politics of your country, you is a fool. Not you are a fool. Kubanga bogamba you are winzo tutwalira mu fena. No, you is a fool. Gengo muntu. Our distinguished guests, particularly the giant of the struggle for freedom in Uganda, Dr. Kizza Besigye, and Madam First Lady, Dr. Miriam Matende, the Lord Mayor of Kampala, the Secretary General of FDC, my brother Kaija, the Deputy President, Honorable Puga from Central, the Honorable John Mujisha from West, the Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe from East, our Secretary General, Honorable Members of Parliament present here today, the Councillors and all other leaders, the National Executive Committee of the National Unity Platform, Honorable leaders of political formations present here today, John Kendu Chamzi, the man, Saddam Gaida from Jema, from PPP, Mzee Chirige Mayanja from Jema, and all other leaders present here today. The foot soldiers, our gallant foot soldiers, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you today in the name of the Almighty God. I also greet you in the name of the struggle for freedom and democracy in Uganda. I want to, in a very special way, welcome all of you to this new home of the National Unity Platform and the People Power Movement. Brothers and sisters, it is in order for all of us to say, Ebenezer, for this far that the Lord has brought us. In the beginning, many naysayers dismissed us as a mere wave. They said we would cease to exist in a short while. But I responded to them at that time, and I still respond to them now, that we are here to stay because we are the National Unity Platform. I thank the people of Uganda for believing in the message that we carry, for trusting us and for voting us into numerous offices. But most importantly, I want to thank the people of Uganda for getting involved and taking an active role in this struggle that we are all involved in to free our country from tyranny. I want to thank the leadership of this secretariat, headed by the able Secretary General, Comrade David Lewis Ugongoya, and the entire team for working under pressure to make this day possible. Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you for taking pressure not only from me but from all over, all the corners. Thank you very much for being my shock absorber. And thank you very much for taking the pain that should have been taken by so many people. Please know that we appreciate you and we never ever take you for granted. I want to thank the elected leaders, especially our members of parliament, mayors, councillors, and all our leaders, but very especially the members of parliament. Friends, it is mainly because of you that we are here today, and I want you to know that. It is largely because of your contributions, financially and otherwise, that we have kept going, and we are confident that we shall keep going. I want to thank our gallant foot soldiers who have always been on the receiving end of the brutality, the beatings, the prison and the abductions. Thank you very much for standing the pain that we cause by speaking truth to power. We salute you, brothers and sisters. I'm always passionate when talking about the foot soldiers because most of our dead comrades were foot soldiers. Most of the missing people you see were foot soldiers. Most of the political prisoners in prison today, the known and the unknown, are foot soldiers. And yet, most of the committed and solid comrades that we have in this struggle are foot soldiers. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to know today that your sacrifice is never ever taken for granted. And I want to promise you today that your input and contribution will never go in vain. One day you will be proud of the things that you're doing today. I promise you that. One day is one day. I always say this to you, and I say it again. Dero kutoba ncha kuvimba.
Map Media TV.
In a very, very special way, ladies and gentlemen, I want all of you to join me in recognizing and honoring Dr. Kizza Besigye. Allow me, sir, today, like many times in the past, I will not address you as Dr. Kizza Besigye. I will address you as President Kizza Besigye. Because we elected you and you won the 2016 election. So you are president, my president, and president of so many people who elected you in 2016. For the last 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, this giant that we have in our midst today has endured persecution, dehumanization, humiliation, all at the cost of all of us. He has been betrayed by comrades that he has trusted most. He has gone ahead to inspire many of us. Doctor, I stand here before these people mainly because of the challenges that you gave me. You will allow me, Doctor, with your permission, I'll tell these people a story. One day nakuchalira eruzira nawakuwanise nida. And he challenged me. He said, in our age, wali Dr. Mulungi nnyo, okola sente zo, osobola okukolera mu nsi yonna yonna, but because of the pain that you had for our country, you got into the struggle, which was even more dangerous than the one we're involved in today. So it's because of you that I felt the challenge, and I rose to the occasion to do what I'm doing, and be sure that it will not end on me, but I will continue that legacy and push it down so many generations to come. We salute you very much, sir. And may God grant you a long life so that one day you see your dreams come true through many people, including myself. Ladies and gentlemen, in the same way, I want to honor those senior comrades. Many of them, you've seen them here, Muzei Chilige Mayanja, Muzei John Kendo Chamuzi, and many others that went ahead of us to pave way, to inspire us, and to spark that movement of change that has never stopped and will not stop until Uganda is free. Comrades, although we are today in a celebratory mood, balaba mwena muli basanyufu, muli mukujaguza, muli mukweyagala, kubanga muli waka. But allow me to request you today to use this day not just to celebrate but to reflect. Olakulayo tetulukozesa kujaguza naye tufumiitirize, tulowooze wa gye tuvudde, biki ne tuyiseemu nawawe tuli. We are certainly not where we used to be. I mean, we are not where we want to be, but we are not where we used to be. Dr. Besigye yashogeddeko bulungi nti kyetwayagala si kyekiriwo, naye ate wetwali si wetuli, tulina wetutuuse. Tusi nti ne Musaba kati atya n'okutya okubeera mu kitundu mu mayiro 10 okutulinaana, agenda kutuuka ekiseera ng'atya okubeera mu ggwanga lye limu naffe adduke.
Oli Map Media TV.
So today, I want us to use this day to meditate, to reflect, to think about the reasons why we got into this struggle. Olowooza lwaki twayingira mu bintu bino ebyobulabe, lwaki twewaayo era lwaki tukyagenda mu maaso. Why do we paint the walls with fallen comrades in the far past and in the recent past. This should be a day for us to think about this journey, which has been a journey for not only liberating our country, but to transform it into a country that we can be proud to call home. Tetwagala just kugoba bugobi Museveni, no, twagala kukyusa ensi yaffe nga tukozesa ebyobugagga by'ensi yaffe n'essente z'omwoyo w'omusolo ze tuwaffe kennyini, tukyuse Uganda yaffe tugifuule Uganda eyeyagaza, Uganda ne bakadaama gye bajja okukomawo baleme kwagala kuddayo. That is the country that we want, ladies and gentlemen.
Makerere TV.
We got onto that journey, and it has been a journey of pain and sacrifice. It has been a journey of constant lessons, a journey of constant growth, and we thank God that we are here today. So as we open this place, as we open this new headquarters, ladies and gentlemen, I request all of us to avoid having that sense of arrivalism, of completeness, because we are not there. It is not yet Uhuru. The job is not completed. Temberanga wano ne mulowooza twatuuka, temberanga wano ne muvimba, no, tetunnaba yadde kutunda kamu katundutundu k'olugendo gye tugenda. May this headquarters, ladies and gentlemen, be a monument for the struggle for freedom. A monument of all those that have come long before us, that have contributed to this struggle that we are leading today. And may it be a monument for those that have paid the ultimate price with their lives for the freedom of this country. Ebifaananyi awo ebyo twabiteekaawo biberenga bitujjukiza buli muntu yenna kufa bali wano n'abo bali ewala aligezaako okwagala okwesiriwaza, tusaba atunulengako ebyo ebifaananyi amanye nti waliyo abaawaayo buli kye balina na buli kye bali okulaba ng'eggwanga lyaffe lino lituuka gye lirina okutuuka. If there's anything to guide us, let those noble memories guide us, ladies and gentlemen. This Comrade Yasin Kauma, Rita Nabukenya, Dan Chine, Banji Nyo, they no longer exist with us physically, but they exist and they are tattooed on our hearts. We shall always remember them. We shall always salute them. We shall always respect them. We shall always think about them. So, brothers and sisters, again, I want you to know that what we are opening today, this, our new headquarters, is certainly not the best headquarters. Mwena mwala bekifaananyi kye twasooka okubalaga kyanjawulo ku bizimbe bino bye tulina. Wano twali twagalawo flows na nyingi nnyo. So this is not what we want. We want it bigger and better than here. But this that we have should be seen as a command post for the struggle for the liberation of our country. For us and as NUP and all other forces of change. So again, we must not relax. We must never ever relax. Tetuzikizanga, temuzikizanga bachali bange paka nga tutuuse gye tulina okugenda. With the little resources that we receive compared to the challenges and problems that we have, this is what we've been able to put up just as a glimpse. Nga bakubira tochi in a new Uganda. Kiki tusobola okukola nga tusolooza ssente z'omusolo nga tezibbirwa. What can we do with the taxpayers' money? All the trillions, what can we do? What shall we be able to do with the oil that we have in Uganda? With the gold that we have in Uganda? But most importantly, with the current taxpayers' money that we have in Uganda. So this is just a small example, ladies and gentlemen, and with the guidance of God and with your support, when we finally kick Museveni out, free our country, and we are in charge of your country. Man, oh man. Comrades, also in the spirit of unity, I want to use this opportunity not only to salute our comrades in the struggle that are with us today, but also to call upon them like we are calling upon all of you to embrace the spirit of unity. We can never do this alone. Nakibagamba olunaku lumu ebujiri mu 2017, was it 2018? Nabagamba nti ekibiina kyonna bwe kirowooza nti kisobola kyokka oba namunigina okuwonya Uganda eyo okuginunula kiba kyerimba. Batuwagidde nnyo baganda bange, buli woyita bayimba National Unity Platform, bayimba People Power, naye tetusobola kikola ffekka, tunakikola na buli omu. Ate sijja si bakulembeze bokka, abanaddiini, abasomesa, abalala abeekolera emirimu egyabwe. Everybody has a role to play. I am very happy nti bannange mukoze omulimu gwammwe. Abaana ba boda simanyi bwe nnyinza beebaza, abasomesa simanyi bwe nnyinza beebaza, bamakanika simanyi bwe nnyinza beebaza, abayimbi bannange simanyi bwe nnyinza beebaza, ne bannabitone byonna mukoze omulimu ogw'amaanyi. Let us continue working together, but most importantly, let us lead by example. Let us lead by example, ladies and gentlemen. Mwe abaana ba People Power namwe aba NUP, Katonda watutadde atuchallenges buchallenges. This love that has been shown to us by our comrades is supposed to humble us. Okwagala kuno kubatuwadde tekugezangako ne kukuwanika amampaati, wabula njagala kukukakkanye. Njagala mmanye nti batuchallenges era nse tunuulidde bukulembeze ki bwe tuofaringa. First and foremost to promoting a unity. Dr. Resi gyakyogeddeko sisobola kiddamu kwenkana perfection gyakyogeddemu. Ne munzikirize nange nga teddoboozi lyange ku bigambo bye nti omuntu yenna alwanyisa abalwanira eddembe okwatagana ye mulabe number 1. Mupikinga unity. Ate omuntu yenna yena bw'alaba ng'omusana mumuwanirize n'emikono ebiri nga mujanjudde bwe muti. Omuntu yenna bw'akeeranga ku makya n'alaba nti ddala ekituufu kye kirina okugobererwa, ekikyamu tekirina kugobererwa, mumwanirize. Togambanga nti nze ndikawo kadda, buli omu mumwanirize. Muganda wange big eye in a very special way, I want to welcome you. This is our country. We are a young population and we can do so much. Thank you. Welcome, brother. Thank you very much. Azibande materiyo. Thank you very much. Adebo tukwata obulungi kuyinza n'okuwulizana. Thank you my brother. So, as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, namaliriza era buno obubaka njagala muwabu wammwe baganda baffe be tuli nammwe mu struggle. Njagala obbasaba okusookera ddala mumanye nti ffe tusobola bakulembera bukulembezi, tetusobola bakulembera bukulembezi, naye mulina omulimu munene nnyo ogw'okukola. Era ensonga eyo omukadde waffe Dr. Kebbi ajogeddeko. Tumuddangaawo ne mutunuulira Kyagulanyi eka. No, eno struggle yaffe ffenna. So wano we tuli njagala mulabeewo ng'ewammwe, kubanga wammwe simanyi oba muntegeera bulungi. Buli wojja wano feeling comfortable, buli wojja wano weyagalire mu kifo kino, naye nga bw'obeera mu kifo kino njagala omwoyo ogw'obuvunaanyizibwa gukubeereko. Obeere ng'omanyi nti naawe olina obuvunaanyizibwa bwe bumu ne Kyagulanyi bwayo. Trans Center zabagenda omutta si yali akulembera struggle eno. Rita bagenda omutta oba Yasiini si yali akulembera struggle eno. Naye njagala omanye nti dictator Museveni kuba mutiitizi nnyo buli muntu yenna naddala mu abato buli gwalaba ng'obwongo bwe bulabayo amutya nnyo. So njagala wano mulabewo ng'ewammwe, but most importantly njagala mmanye nti Katonda gwawa ebingi ate amuwa obuvunaanyizibwa bungi. Nina essuubi mu biseera eby'omu maaso Mukama bw'aliba atuwadde obulamu. Nina ekirooto njagala nange nkomewo wano nga ninga Dr. Besigye nga nze omu ku bakadde b'ekibiina nga mukyaliwo ng'abamu ku mmwe mwe bakulembeze ng'abamu ku mmwe mwe bapulezidenti mwe basekutale general mwe boogezi b'ekibiina. Njagala nkomewo wano nga wano baagazibwa nga mukoma eri ng'ekisebe kikoma eri nga kuliko n'essomero nga kuliko n'ebisaawe mwasikako n'ekyalo ne basambirawo omupiira. Njagala nkomewo wano ng'ekibiina kino kikyaliwo nga temwakitunda. Most importantly njagala nkomewo wano nga kino kyekibiina ekikulembera Uganda. Kirinsanyusa okukiraba ekyo mu buli biseera eby'obulamu bwange, naye nga manyi kikyakola, manyi nti ekyo ekirooto kigenda kutuukirira, manyi nti olunaku lujja kukya nkomewo wano nange ng'omugenyi ng'omu ku bakadde b'ekibiina nga tukyali ku values ezimu, nga tukyali ku bigendererwa bye bimu, nga tukyali ku nnono y'emu, nga tukyali ku mulamwa gwe gumu, naye okusingira ddala Katonda nga tukkiriza omulamu ogwo tugutuukiriza mu bikolwa bingi eby'enjawulo. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale nnyo Madam First Lady. Thank you very much. Engeri gye bampeya akasente ebigambo byange bino kambikomye wano. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Banzijukiza era njagala nkibakakase ti mmwe ba members, mwe abakulembeze, mwe bannannyini ba wano. This is not about Kyagulanyi. Era ebyapa bya wano ebisinga obungi biri mu mannya ga National Unity Platform. This is the property of the people of Uganda, courtesy of the National Unity Platform. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless you. Yes, banzijukiza nti n'ebitannabera manya gaffe tebigenda kugira manya ga Joy Lusenyonyi, wabula bigenda kugira manya ga National Unity Platform. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for God and our country.
Oli ku Mapu Media TV. Mapu Media TV.
Victor's crown, we shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in the new Uganda. People power, our power, our power, people power. Let's have the national anthem and close. Oh, Uganda, may God uphold.
Fight free for liberty, together we always stand. Thank you very much. Twagala okwebaza mwenna abaliwo, mwenna babaddewo.
President, let's allow the president to depart.
Katonda, the leaders can depart. Mujja kuleka abakulembeze.
Yes, ababadde naffe ku Mapu Media TV tubeebaza nnyo, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Tubadde nammwe live okumalira ddala essaawa 4.
Tubadde okulaba Mikiwayi, Kabaya, Amisajo, Alikusi Mukasa.
Mbadde mbagamba nti mwebale nnyo ababadde ku YouTube, ababadde ku Facebook, mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala. Tubaddeko essaawa 4 nga tetubakutuliddeemu, ate nga ne network tevuddeeko, ate nga nedda tataweddeeko ate nga tetumusabye. Twebaza nnyo baganda baffe mwenna, mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala okwagala Map Media TV, okwagala People Power, okwagala Kyagulanyi, okwagala His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Kansuubire nti mbaweerezza ekisoboka ewatagenze bulungi, musonyiwe namukadde wammwe kakyekye, naye People Power bulina obwana, ogenda n'otunulira obwana. Bannange wewatagenze bulungi mujja kunsonyiwa, mbadde mbategeeza nti sinze muvubuka ennyo, naye ng'ate nfubye okulaba nti mbaweereza ebyekivubuka ennyo. Njagala kusiibula wano President, wano wanaasoboka wano fuluma.
Munzikirize mberekereze mumena abadde ku Rugero TV, buli ali ku Rugero TV osobola kugenda n'oswapinga ku Rugero TV n'oba nga osobola okutufuna. Era kwe tuli ku YouTube channel yaffe Rugero TV. Amanya n'eddoboozi kitambadde musomesa nga bulijjo nze abadde awulira okuweereza. Mukama abatukuumire lwakuba olwaleero embeera President yagambye oba abakulembeze baffe bagambye tetwasabye lukusa ate era nga tetubadde tetulina ddusaba. Embeera bwebadde era tewabadde wadde fujjo, tetwasabye bukuumi, abantu batambula gentere, abantu batambula mu mbeera. Onaleba oli bulu onaleba sejirinya. So ate ebintu biwedde bulungi, ate ndabyewo kati ya gaasi kabadde kati. Sisobodde kutula live eno, sikutudde live eno olw'ensonga okugiteekako eya President sigikutudde nga tulemereddwa okugikutula. Erinamba ya saawa
Robert Kyagulanyi, a pop star turned politician who's known by the stage name Bobi Wine, is recognised as the new face of Uganda's opposition. But his rise to prominence has not been without its challenges. Bobi Wine's popularity is considered a threat to President Yoweri Museveni, who's been in office for more than 30 years. His government has arrested and prosecuted Bobi Wine several times, and the opposition figure has accused security forces of torturing him. But the 37-year-old is not holding back his ambition. In fact, he's now directly challenging President Museveni in elections expected to be held in 2021. But will his popularity be enough to get him elected? And what are his plans for the way forward? Uganda's Bobi Wine talks to Al Jazeera. Bobi Wine, leading opposition politician from Uganda, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera. And let me start by asking you to tell us what's wrong with things in Uganda right now.
I will try to be diplomatic and say many things are wrong, but if I was to be real, I would say almost everything is wrong, and it all begins with leadership. We have what many people describe as a kleptocracy for a government, which we hope to make better.
It's relatively recent that you've emerged on the political scene. You were, before that, a musician. Why did you decide to go into politics?
I'm a musician, social activist, and a ghetto youth who recently, I call it recent, but it's 2 years ago, decided to run and become a member of parliament.
So was it a natural evolution from that to politics, or was there a moment that made you decide to get involved in politics?
I would say it was a natural evolution, because initially, like any other young man, I was singing about the girls and the parties and everything. But, you know, over time, after realizing that indeed my music and my lyrics was influencing so many people, especially the young people, I decided to channel it to positivity, and it was working well. However, there's this one time about 10 or something years ago when I got a personal attack. I was beaten by my age mate, and my crime was showing off. That is a time when I had just gotten a brand new Escalade, and he claimed that I was showing off as if I didn't know that.
Showing off a flash car?
Showing off a flash car, as if I did not know that the country actually had owners. That communicated so much about the injustices that so many people had been going through in my full glare, and I decided to make injustice my enemy, and that is when I started singing what now the regime calls political music, trying to address those injustices. However, I reached a time when I realized I could not keep just talking about them through my music, and that's why I decided to get into actual politics, so I could have a more formal platform in the Parliament of Uganda to address these issues, and that's what I've been doing.
And you've been an MP for 2 years now.
Yeah, I've been an MP.
But the government's targeting of you has continued since you've been an MP. Not only is your music banned, your concerts banned, but you have faced attack. Tell me about the incident when your driver was killed.
Well, I said it the day I went to Parliament, that since the Parliament refused to come to the ghetto will come to the Parliament. I wanted to articulate those issues that the regime, the government, and those people that rule over us had ignored for a very long time. Of course, when I got into Parliament, it brought a lot of attention of the common people. They picked interest in the politics, and indeed they started pushing me and suggesting that I run for president. Now, this infuriated the president that we have, who has for a long time been regarded as all-powerful, and I started getting attacks, and the most ferocious attack was the assassination attempt on my life in Arua, which took the life of my driver instead of mine.
And you were arrested after that?
Yeah.
What happened to you when you were in custody? You were tortured, yes?
Well, I was tortured, I was beaten and humiliated. You know, the regime planted 2 machine guns on me, and the spokesperson of the National Police in Uganda actually came out and said those guns were found in my room, only to withdraw the charges just a week later.
That was in 2018.
Yeah.
This year, again, the attacks on you have continued.
Well, the attacks on me have continued, but not only me. And I always say that I feel honored to see that my plight is highlighted, but this is the same plight that so many people are going through, or even worse, people that are unknown, people that you will never know about. And that is why every opportunity I get, I try to shine a light on their plight, because I am only representative of what they are going through. The attacks have continued. I'm a musician, but my music has since effectively been banned in the country. I cannot stage any concert. I cannot be allowed to address a public gathering, not even in my constituency, which elected me to office. And yes, more than twice I went to church, and the church was tear gassed by the regime, because President Museveni and the regime that he presides over is so scared of anybody that communicates words that open the eyes of the people of Uganda.
Let's talk about President Museveni. You were, I believe, 4 years old when he came to power.
Yeah.
You probably, well, I'm sure, don't remember Uganda without Museveni, and that's a large part of the Ugandan population.
Yeah, I'm 37, but I've never realistically experienced a Uganda with another president, and it is more than 80% of Ugandans that are in the same situation, you know, and that really gets us disturbed. We have been denied an opportunity to contribute to our country. We've been excluded as a new generation, and we desire to contribute to building a country which we know we are going to live in, because certainly the people that are making decisions for us are not going to be there to either benefit or suffer from the decisions which are evidently wrong that they are making for us.
If you look at the history of Uganda since independence from the colonial rulers, the British, it can really be summed up with three names: Milton Obote, Idi Amin, and Yoweri Museveni. Now, two of those, Obote and Amin in particular, were very, very brutal. Would you accept that when Museveni came to power first, he rescued your country?
Well, that has been said. We've always been hearing that while growing up, until we grew up old enough to see with our own eyes. And I would say without fear of contradiction that Museveni's rule is much more brutal than the rules that have been there before. Only that President Museveni has been extremely smart, and we must give it to him. You know, the world sees President Museveni, and indeed many people describe him as a benevolent dictator or a dictator in a suit. To the Western world, President Museveni has always cast this image of a democrat, but back home he has stepped on all rights and all freedoms, and he has ruled Uganda with an iron fist.
What do you say to international investors and to governments, to diplomats who say, better the devil you know?
Well, to the international community, to the international investors, and to all the organizations that are working with Uganda, first and foremost, I want to thank them for always choosing to be friends of Uganda. They've supported our healthcare system, and yes, they've supported our military. But we know that we are also citizens of the world, and what unites us should not be only business. It should be the values that we share together, values like democracy, values that the respect for human rights, and values like zero tolerance to corruption. So I request them to always hold the administration accountable. Let them make the observation of human rights and the rule of law a precondition for cooperation with Uganda, so that ultimately they are dealing with Uganda not to the detriment of Ugandans. We want the international community, and in particular the United States of America, to be dealing with Ugandans and not with Museveni himself. Otherwise, the United States supports so much of our military operations, especially in the fight against terror. But you see that the corruption that is ongoing in Uganda, and indeed the corruption of President Museveni himself, has caused that aid to again be used to repress the people. I've always noted that the gun that was used to extrajudicially execute my driver was an American gun.
I've interviewed President Museveni 3 times. In fact, he's been on this program sitting in the chair where you are. He seems supremely confident. Do you think he's afraid at all of losing power?
The only thing that President Museveni is scared of is losing power. And that is why today in Uganda, the major preoccupation of the government is the grip on power. It explains why President Museveni moves with stashes of money, just bribing anybody. It explains why our police force is reduced to now playing politics other than keeping law and order. It explains why the military, high-ranking military officials are coming out to denounce the people or the People Power movement. The Minister of Constitutional Affairs is a soldier, and he came out and said, we shall fight people power using the military and air force. I mean, we are only young people that are not armed. We are only using words to assert what we want. And we're not even inciting violence. All we are saying is that we want to be regarded as human beings in our own home. So the desire to maintain the grip on power has made President Museveni descend down to unimaginable levels.
The Constitution has been changed twice. It used to say that you were only allowed to be president for 2 terms. He's now done 5 terms. It used to say that you're only allowed to be president if you're younger than 75. He'll be 76 next time there is an election. What do you think is the president's plan? Do you think he plans to rule until he dies, or do you think he plans to hand over power to his son or maybe his wife?
Well, I wouldn't want to say I think. I would want to say I know that President Museveni plans to rule for life, and maybe after he dies in office, probably he wants his son or his wife to take after him, which is wrong, which is unacceptable, which we are going to fight until the end, because Uganda is not a monarch. Uganda is a democracy, and all Ugandans should be included in the governance of Uganda. But most importantly, it should be the people of Uganda to make the decision. You talked about our constitution. Yes, our constitution used to provide for that, but still our constitution, although it has been changed so many times, the constitution as it is provides for fundamental rights. It provides for the freedom of association. It provides for the freedom of speech, and all these freedoms are being stepped on. Recently, it was on international TV when Dr. Kizza Besigye was brutalized. He's a political opponent. And myself, I'm a political opponent to President Museveni, but I cannot be allowed to address any crowd anywhere. I cannot even be allowed to access radio or TV stations, especially in the countryside. Why? Because President Museveni is very, very scared of the message that we bring. He's very scared of the fact that 85% of the population of Uganda is my age and younger. He's very scared because he sees the signs everywhere. People are yearning for change.
What about his own party, the National Resistance Movement? Do you think he's got trouble inside the party too?
Well, it's very evident that President Museveni has trouble in the party itself. I mean, even in the People Power movement, we are working with more than 10 members of parliament who actually belong to the ruling party, but they see the truth, because the truth is constantly being told them by their voters. They want change. So I believe that the wind of change is blowing even in President Museveni's bedroom.
Perhaps the most important quote ever from President Museveni came in his first year in office when he wrote a book, What's Africa's Problem? May I quote from that? The problem of Africa in general, and Uganda in particular, is not the people, but leaders who want to overstay in power. Now, I picked him up on that quote when I spoke to him 6 years ago in 2013 on this programme, and he said, no, staying in power without elections. I'm in power because of elections, and he has been repeatedly re-elected.
President Museveni used to say those things when he was around my age. 34 years later, he doesn't want to hear what he said when he was still, in my opinion, sober. So there's only one explanation for that. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
There have been allegations that previous elections were not free and fair. In your view, right now, is President Museveni the legitimate president of Uganda?
Well, I'm very convinced that Dr. Kizza Besigye won the previous elections. And I would believe that even if Museveni could have won the past elections, the way he's handling the people of Uganda makes him lose his legitimacy. However, we are looking at the opportunity of 2021 for the Ugandans to assert their voices, which we are sure they are going to.
Do you see a trend in Africa? I mean, look, for example, at Zimbabwe. Look at other parts in North Africa, at Algeria, for example. Do you see a trend that older leaders are now being forced to give up power?
Well, the wind of change is blowing. It's only those that have decided to cover their ears and eyes that don't see it. But the wind of change is blowing. Those of us who were young are now grown. We were babies, now we are parents. We are demanding the right to shape the future for ourselves and our children, and we will stop at nothing. This is not only happening in Uganda, it is happening all over Africa. You've seen what happened in Burkina Faso in the past, in Algeria, now what happened recently in Sudan. It is happening in Uganda.
You've mentioned the demographics in your country and how many people are young under 35. Because of your music and your own age, tell me what the youth of Uganda are saying.
The youth of Uganda are saying they want better. The youth of Uganda are saying they want their country back. The youth of Uganda are saying they want a country that offers equal opportunity to every Ugandan, where somebody is going to be judged by the content of their character, not which tribe they come from, not who their parents are. The youth of Uganda are saying it is time, it is our time.
And the next election is 2021.
Yes, please.
You say that you're going to stand for president.
Yes.
Will you get all of the opposition to come behind you as the one unified candidate against President Museveni?
Well, it is our effort. We are in advanced stages discussing with different leaders from different groupings and different formations to see that we come together as the opposition, well knowing that one big challenge we all face is the oppression and the limited or shrinking political space.
Given that shrinking political space and the history of the previous elections, the 5 presidential elections we've seen, which Museveni has won, he has a very tight grip on the system, and there have been persistent allegations of vote rigging. How do you overcome that if he rigs the election?
Yeah, we know that President Museveni is planning to rig the election. He has done that in the past. Recently, he did it in Hoima in a by-election using the military. But we are banking on overwhelming him, because a vote can easily be rigged if it's not overwhelming. And ultimately, if President Museveni tries to rig the election that he has been like he has been doing, then the people of Uganda will rise up and they will stop it.
Well, let me ask you about what you mean by that, because if you are blocked at the ballot box, what other ways will you seek to remove Museveni? And it's worth noting to our viewers that since independence in the 1960s, there has never been a peaceful transfer of power in Uganda.
The law as it is today permits me to vie for presidency. And if President Museveni tries to stop me from vying for the presidency, that would be another bridge that we shall cross when we get there.
But what you said a moment ago, that the people could rise up. Are you saying there could be an armed revolution against Museveni if your efforts at the ballot box are blocked?
I did not say people could rise up. I said people will rise up, because that is evident everywhere. They are tired of this oppression and they will not take it any longer. I do not believe in violence. So we are using and shall continue to use all legitimate and legal ways of defending our voice.
I was speaking to one international diplomat who's actually met you, who says Bobi Wine, he's a performer, he's very charismatic, but what does he know about running a country? What are going to be your policies if you get rid of President Museveni?
We are looking at breaking a dictatorship and having Uganda under civilian rule, which has never happened before. We want the voice of the people to surpass the voice of the guns. We want to return the rule of law and dignity to the Ugandans and utmost respect for human rights. We want to revive our education system. I mean, it is sad that the wife of the president, whose education is actually questionable, is the Minister of Education, and it is so sad, the recent happenings in Makerere University and what she said, but that explains the regime and the family and the couple that's ruling over us. We want to revive our healthcare system. It is sick itself. It explains why our government officials, our leaders actually never go to our hospitals. Even when they have to give birth, they fly to developed countries for treatment, while the Ugandans are left to suffer and die. That explains why we lose more than 19 women every day, not every week, not every month, but every day giving birth. More than 300 children die in Uganda, you know, and all these other challenges that people go through. If we had a functioning healthcare system, it would be working. Uganda is enormously gifted with amazing fertile soils. However, the land has been conspicuously owned by one family or one clan or one grouping. We want to put an end to that. We want the natural resources of the country to be actually a property and a benefit of the people of Uganda. We are greatly endowed with natural resources, from minerals to oil. We want them to facilitate the people of Uganda and help develop us. And finally, we want to unite our country, because we live in a deeply divided country, divided along ethnicity, along class, along income, along political lining. We want to put an end to that, and that will need us to have a truth and reconciliation program that can bring our people together, so we can have a foundation that will take us together forward as a country. And most importantly, I know that many of our very resourceful, knowledgeable, educated and intelligent people have been forced to leave Uganda because the nation does not offer what they deserve. These are first world brains stuck in a third world country. We want to repatriate them back home to help build our country. I must note that after the unfortunate events in Rwanda of 1994, it is mainly Ugandans that went to Rwanda and assisted build the Republic of Rwanda. We want Ugandans living in America, living in Europe, living elsewhere to feel comfortable and blessed to come back and rebuild their country.
Currently, so much of the system was built by and is loyal to Museveni, particularly the security apparatus. What do you do about that, about if you were in charge, about the police, the army, the courts? Where do you draw the line of who you remove from their jobs?
I've been communicating to the men and women in uniform, telling them that this is a fight for them too. We're not fighting against them, we're fighting for them. They deserve dignity. These are men and women who spend sleepless nights trying to keep us safe. But again, looking at how they live, how their children survive, how they are enumerated, it is sad. So we want to better their lives so that our security is better. We want the police not to be playing politics, but to be doing their mandatory work, which is protecting people and their property. We want our soldiers to be dignified, to earn well and to live well.
And would you continue keeping those soldiers playing a regional role? For example, Somalia, Uganda's had soldiers there for 12 years. Yes, you get paid a lot of money by the US government for having your soldiers as part of AMISOM, but should Uganda be fighting the US's wars?
Uganda, in my opinion, is not fighting the US's wars. I believe that Africa is our home. I believe that we should be our brothers' keepers. So whenever there's a problem, Uganda, like all other nations, should be part of it, you know. But again, just like we are trying to have stability and harmony in other countries, it should not be at the cost of Ugandans. So Ugandans should benefit from the stability as well. That should not come at the cost of Ugandans.
My final question. How worried are you about the stakes in what you're doing here? Because in 2 years' time, yes, you could be the president of Uganda, but you could also be in jail. You could be in exile, or it could be worse.
Yeah, I know that every day that I live it as if it's my last day. Every time I leave home, my little daughter hugs me and makes me promise 100 times that I will come back home. I always want to go back home. I have a little beautiful family. I have a young beautiful wife, and we always promise each other that we will work so hard in our youthful days and retire early and enjoy our lives. I want to live peacefully like any other Ugandan. But this is very important because it is not life if one is not living free. So I know the stakes are high. I know the regime is bent at nothing to keep power, even eliminating people like myself. And I know, I've been told before, that there's a very big target on my life. I know that is there, but I also know that it is worth it to fight for freedom even at the point of death. I've said it before and I'll say it again, that we shall continue to fight legally and constitutionally for our freedom, and if need be, we shall die fighting for our freedom.
Bobi Wine, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, I'm Femi Okay.
And I'm Malika Bilal, and you're in the stream.
And this is Bobi Wine. He almost needs no introduction for many of you. Today, freed on bail and facing a charge of treason, Ugandan musician and MP Bobi Wine joins us live in the stream to talk about his hopes for the future and, of course, Uganda.
And you can be a part of this conversation too. Send us your questions for Bobi on Twitter at AJStream or to our live YouTube chat.
Bobi Wine, also known by his birth name Robert Chagulani Sentamu, has often spoken out against what he sees as oppression in his home country of Uganda. In recent weeks, he says he has come to know that oppression firsthand. On August the 13th, he was arrested by Ugandan authorities, detained in military barracks and initially charged with illegal weapons possession. Now, upon his departure from military court, he was rearrested and charged with treason.
Since his election into parliament last year, he has become a sharp critic of President Yoweri Museveni, who has been in power since 1986. As a musician, Bobi Wine's songs have called for political change and freedom from social injustices. His rise from poverty to Afro-pop stardom helped him build a large following among youth, with fans fondly calling him the ghetto president.
So, Bobi Wine, it's so good to have you here in the studio in Washington, D.C. We have spoken to you a couple of times. We had no idea that you would ever end up right here in D.C., but for not good reasons. I'm looking at some of your compatriots who were also in conflict with security forces, with soldiers as well. And I'm wondering if you can actually help us out and let us know what happened to them. Because this story isn't just about you, it's about what happened to some of them. Just looking here at an MP who relapses after being taken off life support machines. You'll see his picture there. Who is that? Tell us about his story.
Thank you, Femi. I'm privileged to be here, finally, physically. Like you said, this is not just about me. It's about very many people who were arrested with 33 others. The Honorable Francis Zake continues to fight for his life in a hospital in India. There are other little-known personalities, like a lady who had just had a baby by cesarean section, so beaten that by the time I left home, she was passing blood. The Honorable Paul Mwiru, who broke his hand, Atiku, whose back got permanently broken, and indeed a few others that had been brutalized even before the 13th, like the Honorable Namboze, who is permanently disabled. She sustained a broken skull. So this kind of brutality was only not new to us. Our case, we just privileged that attracted not only home attention, but attention the world over. And actually, that's why I take it upon myself every day, even against my doctors and family's advice, to try and make use of every opportunity to raise that voice and raise awareness.